Hello, and welcome to the Bamboo Lab podcast with your host, peak performance coach, Brian Bosley. Are you stuck on the hamster wheel of life, spinning and spinning, but not really moving forward? Are you ready to jump off and soar? Are you finally ready to sculpt your life? If so, you've landed in the right place. This podcast is created and broadcast just for you. All of you strivers, thrivers, and survivors out there. If you'd like to learn more about Brian and the Bamboo Lab, feel free to reach out to explore your true peak level at www.bamboolab3.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Bamboo Lab podcast. Today we have a guest on that I've been recommended by a good friend of mine for a few months, and I finally pulled the trigger and reached out to him, and I'm so glad I did. I think this is going to be one of our probably better shows we've done in this year. I'm looking forward to it. We have Nathaniel Waller on. Don't call him Nathan. You can call him Dami or Nate, but we're not going to call him Nathan today. He has been producing music since the age of 18. He got a start in the Chicago hip hop scene, collaborating with a lot of popular artists, but then as a ghost producer, really. But then he started to expand his reach throughout the United States. At age 24, he decided to branch out even further and work with international artists, creating music for film, television, and symphonies. He is a musician, he is a producer, he's a business owner, but most importantly, and I got this so much in the conversation before we started recording, he is an educator. He is driven by the journey to constantly grow his knowledge as an artist, teacher, mentor, and father. I love that last one. Nate, welcome to the Bamboo Lab podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you. I know you're a busy man, so juggling a lot of balls out there. And you've been traveling recently, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Traveling a ton. It's nice to be at home for at least a week.
Yeah, I know. So I got to give a shout out to Todd Wigg, who is a mutual friend of ours, and just thank you, Todd. I'm not sure if Todd even listens to the show, but I know his wife does, and maybe his daughter and son do. But make sure that you tell Todd that we appreciate hooking us up together today. So, Nate, if you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself. I know I've done some research that, as you said, you don't put a lot out there. You stay behind the scenes and create the magic behind the curtain. So can you tell the audience and myself a little bit about yourself, whatever you want, where you're from, your family, growing up, who or what inspired you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's really a loaded question.
It is.
There's a lot that goes into that. So, yeah, I'm originally from a really small town right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, called Oxford, Ohio. Oxford, Ohio is really small, but there's a university that a lot of people know of, Miami of Ohio, is right there in Oxford. So that's where I'm from. I currently live in Kalamazoo, but when I was born in Oxford, my father, he's a college basketball coach, and he was actually coaching at the University of Miami. So that's where I was born. And when I moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is where I currently live, I kind of, I was all about football. Being from Ohio, football's life. Then I, had a little. We'll talk about this a little bit later. But I had, got into the music scene after that through a girlfriend, and from there things kind of went to Chicago and met some famous people, started making music there. They said, "Hey, you make this music?" I said, "Yeah, I made this." They're like, "Oh, you got to come with us." Went with them, started doing tours, things like that. And then I found out, I'm not big on a lot of people just coming up to me, random people. I'm not too big on that one. So I started, going behind the scenes and staying low key on things. And then I started teaching. So I taught in Kalamazoo Public Schools for about 9-10 years. Taught in the college level for 7-8 years. Do some work at the juvenile home. I do a lot of things around, but music was my biggest, was basically the faith of my life. It's who really molded me into what I am now. So I started making music and got my kids into doing music, my wife and friends, and, a whole bunch of things just came with music. And I do seminars. I make music, as you said, I make music for films, behind the scenes with TV shows. I own a few businesses that keeps my name out of things. So I'm so I don't get hounded all the time. but yeah, I keep my name out of things so that way I can still create the music and still have fun doing it, but kind of do it on my terms and not just be, like forced and rushed into doing things.
That's a pretty interesting perspective. I think most people who are into music or have the potential to be celebrities are going to take that route. Why not you? Why do you want to stay behind the scenes?
Oh, well, this is a lot of things that I decide off of comes from experiences. So when I was a junior in high school, my dad was coaching in Tennessee, and their team was doing a tournament out in Disney, out in California. So anytime they do tournaments, stuff like that, my dad would fly me and my brother out so we could go have fun with the team and, like overseas stuff and things like that. He was like, hey, we got a tournament in Disney. I'm like, oh yeah, I need a plane ticket. I need to go. I need to go to Disney. So he flies me out to Disney. And while we're out there, the team's walking around. We're in Disneyland in between games and things. And we see, I hope people know who this is, Mr. Gaines from the TV show A Different World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we see Mr. Gaines, and one of the players goes, oh, Mr. Gaines, it's Mr. Gaines. We all rush Mr. Gaines. We're like, oh, snap, it's Mr. Gaines. So you see all these huge dudes, 6'8", 6'9", 7 feet tall, surrounding Mr. Gaines, and we all take a picture. We get those. This is back in 2003, 2002. So we get, it's not like cell phones where you just take the picture and it's already there. We had to get it was off of a camera. So we had to get everything developed. We had to get the film developed. So I'm going through looking at the pictures, and I see that picture because I was wanting to show everyone. And in that picture, I see Mr. Gaines' grandchildren smushed in between all these huge guys. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? He was just out with his grandchildren having fun at Disney, and people recognized him. And when we took the picture, I didn't even see his grandkids. I didn't even know they were there. All I saw was Mr. Gaines. And that's all I saw. I didn't see anybody else. So you see his kids being smushed in between these. They look uncomfortable and all that. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? I don't think I want that, because I'm definitely going to have kids. I don't think I want that for my family. I wouldn't want someone to see me and just rush in and just have my kids and my wife or whoever that I'm with at the moment just pushed to the background because they see this person there. So at that moment, I didn't know what I was going to be, but I knew I didn't want that for my kids or anything like that.
How old were you then?
I was 16, 17 years old.
It's pretty young to recognize that. I mean, a lot of people in their 60s who would love to have that attention, or who would see that, wouldn't even think twice about it. I think is that one of the things that really kind of inspired you as a young man to kind of?
It was, yeah. Because, always being around, like I said, my dad was a college basketball coach, and he's not like someone who coached at like a small school or anything like that. My dad has multiple championships, been to the Final Four, coached in the NBA. So he's, I was around famous basketball players all the time. Ron Harper, who was the point guard for the Chicago Bulls when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were playing, he was my babysitter. He went to the University of Miami. So I was around in famous people, famous athletes since I can remember. So I kind of had that understanding of what they go through growing up, and having my dad talk to me about things all the time and stuff like that. So I kind of had an idea already. So just from that and seeing it, I've never really seen it though. So by seeing that picture, and I got to see his grandkids just smushed in between these huge basketball players, it kind of instilled in me. It was like, oh yeah, that's exactly it right there. That's what I don't want.
That's exactly. Well, when did you start getting into music though? You started hitting the hip hop scene around when you're 18 or so?
Yeah, that sounds about. Yep, that's right. I was always big in football. Football was my passion, and honestly, to this day, if I had a chance to play football and get rid of the music scene, I'd do it in an instant. Not even a thought. But during high school, I got injured. I was being scouted by a lot of Division I schools, and but I got hurt and couldn't play anymore. And that was really devastating to me. Like I didn't know what life was without football. My entire life was dedicated to football. But even during practice, when I was at practice stuff, you had your knee pads and your shoulder pads and all that. I was always tapping on making music, like drumming on my knee pads or shoulder pads or something. So when I got hurt, I was like, man, I got to find something else to do. School wasn't my thing. I'm not that guy. I am not that guy. Even though I ended up teaching, school was not for me.
Did you have any musical talent though before you were drumming on your knee pads, or is that just like, was that your first introduction to actually trying something?
So I had already, because I was always drumming, I was already a drummer. My mom noticed that I was always tapping on things, so she got me into like band classes because of that. But it was never anything serious. I never took it serious. It was football nonstop. So once I got hurt, I was like, man, I got to figure out something else to do. And I always liked music. I always liked listening to music and playing when I was in band class and things like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to buckle down and take this serious. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend at the time, she has a great voice. And honestly, I do credit a lot of my career to her. But she had a great voice, and she said, you know what? You should make me a song one day so I can sing to it. And I was like, yeah, I don't really have any equipment or anything like that. But my cousin's roommate had a lot of music equipment. So my cousin was like, yeah, just come through. I'm sure he'll let you use it. So I went and used it, made a song. She sang to it, and it went so well. It went around. She put the song around the school. Everyone loved it. They was like, yo, who made your music? She's like, oh, my boyfriend made it. So then it just spitballed. It was like, yo, can you make me something? Can you make me something? And it just spitballed. And I started having so much fun just being around different creative ideas and different types of music, and seeing people light up to the music that I created. It just started from there. Once that happened, I was off to the races.
So, Nate, did you write the lyrics to the song she wrote or that she sang?
We did it together.
Okay.
She was much better at it at the time, but we did it together.
So, were your mom or dad, were they at all musical?
No.
Okay. Your dad's a basketball coach, so I assumed he didn't have time for music.
Right. No, not at all. I was told my dad, when he was in high school, he used to sing, but I never heard
it. Well, so was it a natural gift that you have then? Or how did that, your first time doing this and everybody loves it. So that's a pretty rare thing.
I say this to everyone. You can have natural talent and God-gifted abilities at anything. But without hard work and dedication, it doesn't matter how natural you are, you're not going to become good at it. So do I have natural ability? I'd like to say yes, just from because I just have an ear for it and a passion for it. So I would like to say yes. But even still, I'm talking nonstop. I wouldn't go to sleep until 3:00 in the morning just working on music.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's pretty interesting. You normally hear people when they start off doing things like that, they kind of suck and everybody laughs at them and tells them, this is not your track. You better go get a degree in something, stick with school, go down the traditional path. And so it's a unique story to start with. A question I like to ask people, because we've gone through a lot of changes in the last couple of years. We all have. What would you say is one of your biggest life lessons or learnings you've had during that time?
Oof. So I'm very critical, is what I like to say. I'm very critical. And I'm very hard on myself. And for that reason, I'm very hard on anyone that I work with. But one thing that I've learned, especially in the last year, I'm going to be honest with you. The last year has been very, very troublesome. Okay. It's been tiring. It's been a lot of work. Things weren't going the way they're supposed to. One of my businesses, we kind of got dismantled. Everyone moved out in their own direction, and I kind of got left with myself. It's been a lot for the last 12 months. So one thing that I've learned from that, and after speaking with my business partners and people that were working with me, they're like, you just expected too much. You're just doing too much. We couldn't get all that stuff done, so they figured they would be better off on their own. So the biggest thing that I learned from that is I can't put expectations that I put on myself onto others. I have to let others be who they are instead of expecting them to be either the same level as me or better.
Okay. One of the things I learned, Nate, years ago, I think this was when I was married. I'm pretty sure it was. This is 20 years ago or more, going through relationship counseling, and my stuff at the time was more like I like to be on time. I don't like to be late for things, and I was irritated with my wife at the time. And our therapist said, Brian, the best advice I can give you is keep your standards high, but keep your expectations lower. He said it'll save you so much headache in life. When you keep your standards, your expectations of others at your standards, it's going to be a nightmare. And the same thing with other people. If they expected me to rise up to their standards and the things they are good at and that I suck at, it'd be terrible for them. So I'm glad that you got that learning this year. I mean, 'cause it's a lot of pressure on other people, but it's also a lot of pressure on yourself.
It does. And that's what I learned. Like I was putting way too much pressure on someone to do. So for instance, as soon as someone tells me something, hey, we want to get this done, I start working on it immediately. I'm like, okay, we can get this done. You know what I mean? Hey, let's go. I'm a go type of person. I'm not let's sit down and let's think about it. Let's discuss. Let's weigh the goods and the bads. If I want to do it, I go do it. That's it. Plain and simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I get to work on it immediately. However, I can't put that expectation on someone else, and I've learned that it was always a hassle between me and my business partner. Someone gives us a call, hey, we want to do this. I'm like, yeah, we there, absolutely. Where we got to go? Toronto? All right, we're out of here. Let's go. But my business partner was like, well, we have this going on the next day. We have this. Aren't you going to be tired? Aren't you going to be this? No, we'll be fine. Let's keep it moving. And it created conflict between the two of us. Now, everything ended up being okay, like I knew that it would, but it was a lot of stress during the travel. It was a lot of stress on this. It was a lot of stress that was put in there that was unnecessary just because of the expectations of that I put on my business partner that they were not ready for. And, like you said, keep the standard. I want the standard there. The standards have to be there, because there's still a quality of work that needs to be reached. But like you said, if you force someone to be this way or have expectations on them, they just can't meet the expectations that you put on them,
Yeah, and I think when a lot of people get that pushback like you got from your business partner, it's a lot of people will either say, screw it, I'm still, we're going to do this, or they will actually lower their own standards. And I think we need crazy people like you out there. We need those guys like you that will just drive. I mean, what Steve Jobs said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I mean, we need those people. But the problem is they have to, like you said, you have to realize that the people around you may not be as crazy. They might not have that drive that just, let's get it done right now. Let's move tomorrow. Let's go to Toronto tomorrow and get this started. But if you can encapsulate that, keep your drive going, but then bring other people around you and get them to their highest level without them having to be at your level, that's when you create a real solid team of people.
That's right.
And I see so many leaders out there, Nate, who you're in a role of leadership because you're really good. You can't expect the people around you to be as good, but you can expect them to be the best they can be. And that's where I say, I don't expect people to be at my level and doing certain things, but I just expect them to be at the best level they can be, or at least striving for it. And the same thing, they can't expect me to be at their level on things that they're really good at, but they should expect me to try and be the best at my level that I can be in that thing. And it goes hogwire when you expect them to be at your level every single time. Now, how does that apply with your family though, with your personal life? Does that same level of intensity and now realizing, hey, I can't have those expectations, does that also apply to your personal life?
It does. And one thing, it's funny because you were talking about how you were going through marriage counseling, things like that. I'm actually going through a therapist right now. Shout out to Tracy. I am going through a therapist right now because I'm having such a hard time not forcing those expectations on my own children. And I'll give you a prime example. My oldest son at baseball, is his talent level, his natural God-gifted ability is off the charts. I mean, he's throwing like 68, 70 miles an hour at 12 years old. he's just incredible. His swing, and he's hitting the ball out of the park all the time. He's incredible. I play catch with him. Honestly, I play catch with him, and I get scared because I hear the ball coming so fast. I'm like, I'm like, ooh. All right, easy, Tiger, easy. But the expectations coming from an athletic background, I know what it takes to get to that next level. So even though he's only 12, I'm like, hey, what did you do today? What workouts did you do today? He's like, nothing, Dad. I'm 12. I play video games and watch TV. Like, relax. But my expectations for him are, hey, did you go outside and work on your ground balls? While you're watching TV, are you working on any sort of footwork or anything else? You can do that while you're watching TV. And that's an unrealistic and unfair expectation that I put on my 12-year-old son just because he's good at baseball. Yeah. And so it makes that effect. But however, he does have some drive that I had. So he plays travel baseball, and what he wanted to do, he played travel baseball, and then he just played regular Little League. So this kid had games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and was off on Monday. And he just kept going and going. And after games, he's like, hey, let's go hit. Let's go do this. Let's go work on this. Let's go work on this. So he wanted to play nonstop. So he does have that drive, but I still put those expectations that I would put on myself onto them. So it affects it in that way. I get agitated. I'm like, hey, what did you do today? Come on, man. I can see it in his eyes. It kind of makes him feel like he's not good enough when I get upset when he doesn't work on things, when he's doing nothing. And that's something that I'm working on now. So I can see the hindrance that I'm putting on to my own kids. And all three of my kids are that way. And I keep putting that. But, as parents, we just want the best for them. Exactly, yeah. We know especially since I know what it takes to get there. That's what I want, and that's what I'm pushing. But I have to learn, and I'm learning to ease up. I'm learning to ease up on him because he's still doing great. My other son in soccer is still doing great. My daughter is still doing great, and she's only 7. And I'm putting those expectations on her. So I'm learning. It has made a hindrance, but I'm getting better. Just like that's all we can do in life is just get better and learn from the mistakes that we've currently made.
Amen. I mean, we do a lot of destructive things for the love we have for our children. Right. I mean, but the thing is, so when they're 12, your oldest is 12, youngest is 7. How old's your middle child?
My oldest is 12, but he'll be 13 in a few days. Okay. My middle son is 11, and then my youngest is 7 years old.
Well, it's a good thing you have a lot of time. So, you come to that realization this year. You got a ton of time to turn that around. So, and hopefully they'll listen. Hopefully they'll listen to this episode and realize, hey, Dad really is thinking about that. It really is on his mind. You know what, though?
Yeah, I hope so.
You think about it, though, Nate. When I played sports, I could see those athletes who, like for me, I never had any natural ability. I never really did in sports. I think it was more, I just worked at it, and I loved it. I was probably more aggressive. That was probably what got me decent at sports, anyways, because I was aggressive and assertive. But I always looked at the people who came on the team who were just naturally athletic, but didn't train, didn't do anything. They just came out and played, and they excelled at it. But the problem with that is I always thought, and I learned this later in life. I didn't know this in college when I was seeing this, but I learned it later, is those people can't replicate what made them great. Like Michael Jordan could replicate what made him great because, he was natural, but he also got cut from his freshman basketball team. And he wasn't a superstar, even at North Carolina, until like the last year. But he worked so hard, he could replicate because he knew what got him to be great. But those natural athletes who don't try at all or natural at anything, and you don't really try, you can't replicate that. You can't say, okay, if I get in a slump, how do I get out of it if you don't know what got you there to begin with? It was just a God-given talent. And then you can't teach other people, because exactly. I don't know. I just had this gift. I just did it. But you can't say, if you do these exercises, these routines, these habits, you're going to get great or you're going to get the best you can be. But if they've never done that, they can't teach it. And that was always a problem for me later on. And I think that's what's helped me professionally is not being a natural athlete, but being a good athlete in the end. I could replicate those skill sets later on in life and other things, and I think that's the benefit of having both natural talent and that drive and that, attention to detail. And your kids will get there. I mean, they're young, 12, 11, and 7, man. And having you as a role model, just being in your life, you can pick up your energy. I can pick up on the phone call prior to the recording. I can pick up on it now on the show. That's the kind of stuff that just that ability to dream and drive is something that's contagious for people, especially if they're your children. They're around you all the time. I mean, how does your wife deal with that?
Oh, my wife hates it.
She
hates it. Okay, so let me put it this way. All right, so I'm gonna give you like a day in the life. Oh, let's not say a day. Let's give it like a week in the life of kind of what she goes through by being by dealing with me. All right, so right now we are currently working on a TV show. The TV show it follows me and my music company as we travel from country to country as we make pop songs with that nation's pop star. Right.
Okay.
So give you an idea, we're in Brazil. So we go to Brazil in February for Carnival. We're working with Gabi, which is a pop star down in Brazil. You guys should look her up. She's actually dating Neymar, which is a famous soccer player from Brazil. But so Gabi, we're working with Gabi, and that is a week and a half long shoot. So we're gone for a week and a half. The day we come back, we have a show. I've made music for a symphony. So the day we come back, I get to stay at home, see the kids for a little bit. But that very next day, I'm doing the concert for the show with the orchestra. So I go to that location. We're practicing for a little bit, and then the show. We have the concert. I come back home for about a day or two, and then I started a youth sports organization. To help inner city youth be able to play these travel sports, because travel sports are expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make it's a nonprofit to make it cheaper for parents and stuff. So kids that come from underprivileged families can actually still participate. So after I get back from doing the orchestra stuff, I now have meeting after meeting after meeting with different parents and organizations and things like that to get this organization up and running. And then I go to work at the juvenile home after that. So out of that 2.5, 3 week span, I was at home for maybe 4 days.
Yeah.
And for my wife, like I said, we have 3 kids that are doing all these things. So now she has to stay at home with the kids all by herself and cook and clean and make sure the kids are ready to go, get to wear the things that they need. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm still a needy person. So I give her a call like, hey, is this the thing that I need to at home? Could you grab that and send it to this person for me? Thank you. So she's wrangling. She's busier than I am. And I feel like I'm nonstop running, but she goes and goes and goes because that's what she has to deal with because I'm always gone.
Well, I hope the 4 days you're there, you treat her like a queen.
I like to think so.
Well, she can answer that question when she hears this episode. So, Gabi, how do you spell Gabi?
Gabilly.
Is it one word?
It is one word. Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm just.
If you put Gabilly and Brazilian pop singer, she'll pop right up.
Oh, right here. Yeah, it popped right up. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. I just want to have that so I can look at it later. Wow. So, how long are you home for now?
So I will be here. This is the travel baseball is about to start up. All the travel sports, travel soccer, travel baseball. So and my son's birthday and things like that. So from middle of March till about the middle of May, I kind of block off for family time. That's when I'm going to be at home and making sure I'm at sports, at the sports things that my kids do. Because to be honest, I also coach. I coach for a lot of things. So I'll be coaching with my kids to make sure I'm there. So I will be at home for a while, but the music and business never stops. So once the coaching's done from about, I'd like to say 8 o'clock till about 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm down in my basement in my studio getting work done.
Do you drink a lot of coffee?
Cherry Coke. Cherry Coke is the go-to.
That's your poison, eh? Wow.
Cherry Coke is the poison. Yeah, absolutely.
So. Hey, when does your son turn 13?
He will turn 13 April 8th.
Let's wish him a happy birthday from the Bamboo Pack audience. This will air, I think, on the 24th or something, but we'll wish him an early happy birthday. Welcome to teenage years. Dude, you'll have a teenager now.
You too.
Yeah.
I will. I'm so nervous. But happy birthday to you too, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, coming up tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
I keep forgetting it's my birthday, and typically what I would do, Nate, is for years. So I started doing my coaching practice almost 29 years. It'll be 29 years this November, and I always took off 2 days a year. I took off the anniversary of my business, which is November 20th, and then I took off my birthday every year. And I just stopped doing both of those things. I'm an empty nester now. My kids are grown and they're gone. My dog's not with us anymore, and I tend to say, what if I travel a lot, mostly I can work from wherever I am. So I can work, I can do podcasts. Mm-hmm. I'm actually at my daughter's house right now in her home office shooting this podcast. I carry what I call my micro studio with me in my Jeep and all my client files. And I just go, I'm at my house usually I think since Christmas, I've spent 3 nights at my house.
See?
So I kind of I'm not going to Brazil though. I'm a little more domestic in my travels, but I forgot what I was even going to say. I'm like, why would I take off my birthday when usually I'm going to wherever I am. I'm usually home alone on my birthday because if I'm traveling, other people wherever I'm staying, they're out working. But I think I'm going to take a half a day off tomorrow. I might do that.
Oh, a half day. Branching out. I love it.
I'm at my daughter's house now, and then I'm going tomorrow my son lives 15 minutes away. So we're going to go out tomorrow and have a late lunch. And he bought a new vehicle from my son-in-law. We got to go do the title exchange and all that at Secretary of State. And then he said, Dad, I'll take you out for Thai food and I'll buy you a new hat, which is what I want. I want a new baseball cap. And then we're going to go to Black Rocks Brewery in downtown Marquette, Michigan, and have a couple of beers. And so I might take half a day off tomorrow. But I keep forgetting it's my birthday until somebody will say, hey, it's your birthday coming up. And I guess...
Man, isn't that how it goes? The older you get, you just forget. When you forget your age, you forget the birthday, because there's just so much going on. The days just go by so fast. You just kind of forget.
You do. What I start doing, Nate, is about 4 months before my birthday, I start considering myself that age. So like back in November, I said, I'm 58. That way, when it hits, I'm like, I don't really care. The age means nothing to me because I've been 58 for 4 months now. That's the way I look at it. I always round up. I don't round down.
I like it. I might have to adopt that system. I like that.
It works, man. It works. But age is irrelevant to me. I don't even think about age. Age is just stay young inside, keep moving, keep going, keep growing, keep serving others, keep expanding yourself. That's all we got to do in life. And when you do that, you really never age inside, in my opinion.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
Okay, I got a question. This is one of my favorite questions to ask, and you can go as deep as you want with this, Nathaniel. But what in your life, what was one of the most difficult things you've ever gone through, and what did you do to get through that?
Yeah, we're gonna go. Oof, that's a loaded question. So
I have a lot of those.
Yeah, I like them. It makes me, questions like that make me learn about myself. So I love when people ask me these types of questions because then I really have to dive deep and really pull it out, and that just helps you grow. So I love questions like these. So keep them coming. I love it.
I will for sure.
All right. So in my mind, difficulty is relative, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll say as a kid, one of the most difficult things I went through was when my dad left. Now, my parents didn't get divorced until I was about 14, 15 years old. But at 9, my dad left to go. He took another job at Howard University. So my mom didn't want to move us to Washington, D.C. because Howard University is in Washington, D.C. Right. So my dad is now gone for however many months out of the year. So now it was just me, my brother, and my mom at home. And that was really difficult. So at that time, at 9, 10 years old, that was one of the most difficult things I had to go through. And in my mind, I'm like, man, that really, especially as a kid, when one of your parents just leaves, that really, alters and changes your mentality and who you are. And that's a big moment. And that's very difficult for those kids. And especially for me when it happened, because like I said, my dad was a college basketball coach. We were always together. I would be in locker rooms when he was coaching at halftime and before the games. I knew all the players. Now all that's gone. He's gone. All that's gone. So it was really difficult. And how I kind of got out of that was, especially, and I remember this vividly. was I would train nonstop. And that's where I kind of push it on my kids for football. I was big in football. I was really good at football. So I would just go outside and run. I'd do push-ups. I'd run routes. I just do random football drills. And that kind of got my mind off of him being gone and moved me into the space for football. You jump forward to age 16, 17, and now I get injured from football. Now I can't play football anymore. Well, at that point, football was my whole life. What do I do? So that became the most difficult thing that I've ever gone through. And that was huge. I went through this huge depression. Because, like I said, football was the only thing that I ever did. I wasn't good in school or anything like that. So I went through a huge depression, and I had to find something that pulled me out of it. In this case, it was music. And I even got a tattoo that said "Music Saves My Life" with a treble clef on it. And because it did, I didn't know what to do. At this point, I'm 17 years old. My whole life is football. It's kind of too late to start something new at that time. That's what I was thinking. Now I know that I was still super young. I could have done anything. But at the time, I'm like, yo, my life is over. Football's over. My life is over. What am I going to do? And then music took over. And then that became my new love and passion and things like that. Then you jump forward to when I'm 26. My oldest son was born. He was born with something called gastroschisis. Gastroschisis is when the skin doesn't form all the way. So he was born with his intestines outside of his body.
Okay.
So that at that time was the most difficult thing I'd ever done. Now, granted, now he's fine. You would never even know, but he doesn't. It's actually kind of cool. I tell him all the time, he doesn't have a belly button.
No, he doesn't.
Because he doesn't have a belly button. So the umbilical cord, was cut, but like again, his intestines were on the outside of his body. So what they did, they put him in an incubator, and they put his intestines in a little bag and held him up, and they just fell right back into his body. They sewed him up, and he was good to go. It took about 3 weeks. He was in the hospital for 3 or 4 weeks for this whole process to go through. But at that time, seeing the person that you created, of your son, your child, go through a surgery, have all this pain go through. Granted, he doesn't even remember any of it because he was, he's just born. But that was the most difficult thing. And what brought me through that one was the people around me. All my friends came to the hospital and would hang out with me. My students, I was teaching in public schools at that time. My students came up to the came up to the hospital to come see me, just make sure I was okay, come see the kid and hang out and just have fun. And that at that moment, that's when I knew I was doing something right. When you have family and friends and students come up to support you during your time of need, you're doing something right in life.
Sure.
So difficulty is just relative. So I've had many, many, many difficult things in my life, but I'll say this, that as long as I like to call it your tribe. I like to call it my tribe. As long as you have a great tribe around you, your family, your friends, loved ones, things like that. If you have those, you have your nice, tight tribe around you, you can get through anything, because the people around you is what makes your life valuable. And the people around me, the people I keep around me, I make sure are good, solid people, and they can help me through anything.
Did you find, as you've gotten to be more of the man you want to become, and we all go through phases, Nate, where we do stupid things in life. We've all been. I mean, I'm 58 tomorrow, and I still do a lot of stupid things. But when I was doing the things I'm least proud of, I had the most people around me. Because those people were also, when I decided to change my life and start living the life based on my values and my beliefs, my circle shrunk, but it got so much stronger.
Yes, absolutely.
You shed the weight and you gain you shed the fat and you gain the muscle during those times of our lives. And it sounds like, with the way you lived your life, at least, during your son having gastroschisis. Am I saying that right?
That's correct. Yeah, you are.
Wow. I usually stumble over words like that. Obviously, that's a good that's a good sign that you were going. At that time you were going in the right direction. I wonder. You were talking about, your dad left when you're coach at Howard when you were 9. I think, yeah, and then at 16 or 17, you kind of lose your passion of football, and you got to wonder if your connection with your dad still was athletics. He was an athlete. He was a basketball coach, and his life was revolving around, high level basketball. You were going on to play, potentially high level D1 football, or at least you were beginning stages of that, being scouted for that. You wonder if there was if that losing your ability to football too was some type of subconscious loss of connection with your father to some degree as well.
It is interesting that you say that, because that is absolutely correct. That is exactly what happened. So once I was done with football, me and my dad didn't talk for a very long time because I didn't know what to talk to him about. I wasn't working out. I wasn't, he wasn't helping me with scouting. We weren't talking with coaches. I wasn't asking to go here or there. He was still coaching himself. So we would talk about, if I did talk to him for a brief moment, like at Christmas time, or he'd call on my birthday, I call him his, it'd be, oh yeah, how's the team doing? All right, Pops, nice to talk to you. Talk to you later. And then we wouldn't talk for months and months at a time. So yeah, absolutely. Once I got done with football, it was a definite hindrance between the relationship between my dad. 100%.
Yeah, I mean that was when you were saying, I'm like, yeah, seems like there's a correlation here between the two difficult times in your life. And you're right, difficulty is relative. And I have people on here who have these heart-wrenching stories of abuse and drugs and alcohol and homelessness, and then I have people who say, I really didn't have anything like that, but I had this. I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. We've all gone through some moments in our lives where we felt at the time that was the lowest moment we can go through. When you got injured, you said you faced depression as a 16, 17-year-old young man. I mean, that's just as deep as anybody. You can't really compare that, because you felt the same way a lot of people who went through what you would think would be even more difficult times. But when you're going through depression, or you feel like you're the lowest that you can be in your life, or you feel there's no hope in your future, you don't get much lower than that. You're right. It's all relative. And what's hard for me might be easy for you. What's hard for you might be easy for me to go through, but we all go through. That's one thing I really like to share with people is, like, a guy like you who is doing some amazing things, has been in multiple facets of life, not just music and coaching and parenting and being a great husband, and at least you're a very intentional husband, because you even admitted that she puts up with a lot and she does a lot of work around the house and around the family. A guy like you when you can say, hey, I've gone through some difficult shit in life. Pardon my language. I've gone through some difficult shit, but yet I can own up to the mistakes I've made. I can continue to try to get better, and I can pull myself out of the depths of some difficult times. That gives hope to everybody, no matter what they're going through out there. It just gives people the chance to say, he did it, I can do it. I'm not going to become a musical talent like he is and be, producing, TV shows or behind the scenes in music. I can't do that, but I can do this really well. And I'm going to do that despite what I've gone through. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say this, everyone has their niche, right? Everyone has their niche. My business partner would say it all the time. She's like, okay, what's our niche in this? I'm like, we know what our niche is. But everyone has their own niche. It doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be entertainment. You can build things. You could, I have a lot of students that was like, I really love to knit. And they started knitting quilts and selling them at school. And that was incredible. She didn't know what she wanted to do with her life. And then just because she started knitting one day, we had a small conversation. She found her niche. It could be building. It could be riding a bike. I'm talking with the kid at the juvenile home right now. And he asked, okay, so when you get angry and everything else, we have to find an alternative to what you're doing now, because what you're doing now lands you here. We don't want you here anymore. What do you like to do? He's like, I love riding my bike. I was like, okay, what's the farthest you've ever ridden? He's told me that he, as a 15-year-old kid, he rode his bike from across 2 different cities. And I said, do you know how big that is as a 15-year-old to just get on your bike and just ride? You could be, and then we started talking about the Tour de France. He's never heard about the Tour de France. So we started talking about the Tour de France. I'm like, these people ride bikes for a living. He was like, I'd love to ride bikes. I would love to do that. So now he's starting to get into bike riding and things like that. So there's always something that you can find. Everyone has their own niche. It doesn't have to be something that everybody does or everyone's thought of. It can be it can be the smallest, minute thing. As long as you find your niche and the things that make you happy, you'll be all right.
Amen to that. And it can be your niche no matter if somebody else agrees with it or not.
That's right.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine anybody at 18 telling you, hey, go into music when you've never had any musical lessons before. I'm sure a lot of people thought, what are you doing, dude? I mean, come on, finish your degree, get your degree, finish your schooling, and focus on, like I said earlier, focus on something more pragmatic. But everybody's got that, there's a draw, there's a purpose we all have in life. And if you just open up to it and plug into it and listen to it, I think I call it like the muse. There's a muse out there that drives me to write, to speak, to do podcasts, to coach people. And I don't think it even comes from me. I think it comes from some other source and it just goes through me. But I plugged into it. And I love it. But a lot of people they don't want to plug into it. They just want to go through life just doing exactly what they do every day, being miserable at their job, being miserable at their personal life. And man, that's a self-imposed prison right there, man. And
yeah, it is the mundane life. I just couldn't imagine having the straight 9 to 5 and coming home. But I'll be honest, some people love that.
I know
that's what some people live for. But man, it's not for me, and it's definitely not for everybody. I can tell you that right now.
No, they don't. What is the quote? Most men live lives of quiet desperation. And if that's what you love to do and you feel comfort in that, I mean, by all means, do that. I did a show last week that probably won't air. I did it by myself last week. So I did a podcast last week, then I did another one the next day, just me talking on the concept of practicing voluntary adversity, meaning get out there every day and do something that scares the hell out of you. Get out of your comfort zone every day. I don't care what it is. And I thought about this. I was running hills a week or two ago and thought about how uncomfortable some things that we do are, like running. I hate to run. I don't like it at all. And when we're done here, I'm going to go find a trail with a bunch of hills. I'm going to do 4 miles with a 20-pound pack on my back. And I despise every single minute of it. I don't like it. And we're supposed to get 3 to 12 inches of snow tonight, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow in snow. But here's the thing. What I've learned, I'm not a strong man. I'm not a super disciplined man. I'm not that at all. But one thing I've learned is that if we seek comfort, we'll never catch it. If that's all we're seeking, just comfort in life, just comfort. But if you do the difficult things and you earn the comfort, then you actually feel the comfort. When you do something difficult in life, whether it's something going for a run or jumping in a cold lake or living a life like yours where you're traveling, and then when you finally find the comfort, you deserve it, you've earned it, and you can actually feel it. But if you just seek comfort all the time, you never actually experience comfort. You got to push yourself.
Amen to that.
You got to push, man. And push yourself, whether it's doing quilts or riding a bike or making music or podcasting or running hills, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is. If you push it hard and you find that discomfort in that and you lean into that discomfort, when you're done, you've earned the comfort you have now and you really experience the comfort.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
That's what it's all about.
And if you do that, you will not live a life of quiet desperation. I can guarantee that.
I think that just inspired me right there. Now I'm going to go. I hate colds. I'm going to go do the cold plunge just to see how I conquered it.
Yeah, and I know the audience gets sick of hearing me saying this because I talk about it all the time. I take an ice cold shower every day. I do 6 days a week. I give myself Saturday where I take a normal shower, and sometimes even on Saturdays I'll be done. I'm like, oh, screw it, it's going on, and I do the coldest the shower can get, and it's about 4 to 5 minutes. And when I'm ever around a body of water that's ice cold, I jump in it. I mean, in fact, at Todd's house not this past December, but last December of 23. He and his daughter and I, on the last 2 days of December, jumped in their lake. And this is in Michigan. Obviously, you know where they live, Hastings. And that lake was cold. And so I told Todd, I said, I'm going to jump in at midnight at New Year's to bring in the new year. Well, I didn't make it to New Year's, right? I was in bed by like 11:15. Guess who woke me up at 12:01 midnight on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day of 2023 or 2024? Todd. He goes, hey, you made a commitment. Get up. So I throw my shorts on, throw a robe or a towel around and he walks down the lake with the flashlight. And I jumped in at 12:01 a.m. or probably 12:05 a.m. by this time on New Year's morning. And it was the scariest experience because the water is black dark. Like you can't see. And I went in and it kind of lost my bearings. And I popped up and I turned around. I could see him at the shore with the flashlight waving it. So now I knew, okay, because you don't even know if you're up or down in water when it's dark out. You can't tell what's up or what's down. And so he made me do it, but I'll never forget that was a lesson that you made a commitment to yourself, Brian. You got to do it. I'm like, man, why did I put myself into that position?
And that's the hardest thing when you make those commitments. I teach this to everyone. I've been teaching it, and because it was taught to me, I've been taught this ever since I was a little kid. The hardest thing to do is finish, right? It's the hardest thing. Anybody can start something, and they have what they call it senioritis when you're in high school. You get to the end, you just don't want to do anything anymore. They talk about it in sports. You have to finish the game out. You're up by 3, but you got to finish. It's the hardest thing to do in life. When you make a commitment to yourself, you can start the commitment, whether they have New Year's resolutions. Everyone starts it, but most people don't finish it. The hardest thing to do is to finish. So and then Todd, for you, in this case for you, he made sure you got it done.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, but so everyone, I say it all the time, hardest thing to do is to finish. But if you have somebody in your corner that can help you finish, everything will go smooth.
All right. I got to write this down. Hold on. I'm always looking for titles of the show. That's a potential one right there. The hardest thing to do is finish. Well, it's true. I think what I read last year, 2 years ago, maybe it was, I was doing research on people's goals and how many people reach their goals every year. And I think it was 9% of Americans actually reach their New Year's resolutions every year. 9%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm part of that 9% on some of my goals. I'm
definitely part of it this year. My goal was to drink less cherry Coke. I think I had a 2-liter yesterday by myself.
You still got 9 months to go, 9.5 months to go. So we're going to push you for that one. So I have a question for you. So big football fan from Ohio. Are you a Buckeyes fan?
So here's the thing. Although I am from Ohio, and a lot of my friends played for Ohio State, my family is Michigan.
Oh, yes.
We are go maize and blue all day.
Thank
you. Michigan, University of Michigan was one of the teams that was scouting me.
Okay.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts. If I got that offer, I was definitely going to Michigan. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Michigan all day. I had uncles that played for Michigan. I just had Michigan's national championship winning team, 2023. My little cousin DJ Waller was on the defensive side as a freshman. We're a Michigan family, Michigan all day.
Oh man, yeah. Here I just pulled him up.
Yep, DJ Waller.
Defensive
He transferred to Kentucky. Like, come on, bud. Dude, but it is what it is.
I got to tell you, when Harbaugh left. Yeah, I'm a diehard Michigan fan. My son is too. I mean, we bleed maize and blue for football and basketball too. I watched the Michigan game on Sunday against Wisconsin for the Big Ten tournament and basketball, and I was in a Wisconsin bar surrounded by Wisconsin Badgers, and I was pretty quiet the whole game, but I got a little vocal at the end, but very little. I was respectful after we won, but I can't imagine because he could have. When Harbaugh left, I thought, man, Sharon Moore. I don't know. He has no head coaching experience. Didn't start off well, but man, the beating Michigan State, Ohio State, and Alabama, and the way he's been recruiting, I have high hopes for Michigan.
Oh yeah, I have huge high hopes. What's his name? The kid that's from Granville or something like that.
Yeah, quarterback.
The quarterback.
Yeah. What's his name?
I can't think of his name. Right now, but he better be worth all the $10 million. I'll tell you that.
Oh boy. I hope so too. I mean, what is his name? I love JJ McCarthy, by the way. I loved him. I loved his leadership style. But yeah, I'm going to type this in because we can't go without knowing. Bryce Underwood.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And you know it's funny that you brought in the Harbaughs because John Harbaugh actually went to University of Miami in Oxford, Ohio. So while John Harbaugh was there playing football for Miami, my dad was the college basketball coach at Miami. So I don't know if they know each other, but I'm sure that they met because, the sports, they hang out all the time in the rec center and stuff like that. So I'm sure my dad met him at some point. Yeah, they crossed. So I'm sure they met at some point.
And he's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, buddy.
That Harbaugh family, they're like we talked about. They're the crazy people we need in this world because Jim Harbaugh is crazy. But I love that crazy, man. I mean, big time. Spending nights in recruits' bedrooms on the floor, wearing khakis when he's lifting weights and jumping in the cold plunge in his khaki. It's just crazy, man. But we need those crazy people.
We need them. Inspirations to us all, man. I'm telling you.
I took my son and my best friend and I went to the first spring game of Harbaugh walking. The first spring game of his first year coaching. And when he walked out, there were like 60,000 people in the stands. He walked out, and it was like the king walked out or a god walked out of there for the first time on the field in front of the fans. I have it on video. He's got his khakis on, his blue shirt on, and he walked out for the spring game, and people just roared. Not realizing we thought we were going to win a natty the first year, but we went through some tough years. But man, that last season, 24-25, that was worth everything to me. Everything.
He's one of those guys that are just larger in life, and I'll tell you, it never was a goal, but I think that's one of my new goals in life is to have that kind of impact now.
Amen. Well, you already got the crazy part down.
Definitely the crazy part.
You got the crazy in the drive. But if you make that impact, you might have to come out from behind the curtains a little bit, be a little more noticeable.
Yeah. That is true.
Which leads me to the next question, Nathaniel. What do you consider to be a win or a victory in your life?
So here's where more of the crazy part comes in. So I don't necessarily consider wins I don't necessarily consider things wins.
Okay.
I have expectations and goals that I meet. And so I'm like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get this done. And then I get it done. I'm like, good, I can check that off my list. It's not necessarily a win, right? Okay. It's more of, this is what I was supposed to do. This is how I'm going to get it done. What is a win, though, is when I have someone that I inspired do something to meet their goals. Okay. That's my win, right? So when me doing something, for me, it's just my expectation. But when I can inspire or help someone else reach their goals, that's where my one of my mentors in music, when I started touring and all that, and some of these more famous music producers, my mentor, he told, this is a direct quote, and this is kind of what I live by. He says, it doesn't matter how much money you make or what you do in life. If you don't change someone's life for the better, then it all means nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I live by. So when my win is when I help someone else reach their goals. Me doing something, that's what I expect myself to do. I expect that from me. But when I get someone else to do something, that's more of a win than anything else.
So it goes back to those standards you have. You have the standard. Your standards are, I'm going to do this. This is an expectation I have of myself. Mm-hmm. What's interesting, because I always considered myself, I always thought of every year I always said, these are my goals for the year. It was this year in January, and I have an expectation now of how many clients I'm going to help this year, additional clients, in addition to what I currently have. And I stopped calling them goals late last year and called them expectations. So I tell people my expectations this year are helping 20 new people, 20 new companies, or 20 new individuals to help them to achieve their goals this year. So that's interesting. So that's where that idea of you are, you're a musician, you're a producer, you're a business owner, but most of all, as you said, we said earlier, you're an educator. And that's where that comes from. Helping people, to educating them, inspiring them, mentoring them to become their highest level potential, to get to the goals they want to establish in life. We need more dudes like you out there. We really do. But you know what? When I talk to you, you're exactly why this podcast is alive, because there are people like you out there that need to be, I know you like to stay behind the curtains, but I like to spotlight people who are doing this. That even the ones who like to stay behind the curtain and don't want to get noticed as much and don't put a lot of stuff on social media, but it's people like you that it's good to know for me, and I'm sure for the audience, that there are men like you out there. Because it gives us hope. It gives hope, man. It does. So,
well, I'm glad I'm able to do that. But I'll be honest. If there was more, if the world consisted of people that were wanting to stay behind the scenes and things like that, the world wouldn't change. We need those guys that want to be in front. The Michael Jacksons, the Steve Jobs, the Princes. We need those guys that want that spotlight, that want to be in front, because they have more of a global reach.
Yeah.
Than compared to the ones behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you take those people who are behind the scenes for them, they're not going to have that global impact either. You know, it's got to be the collaboration. You know, Santa Claus needs his elves, man. Otherwise, just a fat man in a suit driving around on a sleigh going to house on Christmas Eve. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Hey, this question here, I know we're getting behind, but I'm okay. I don't care how long we go, but I know you're busy. I want to ask this question. If I were to drive down to Kalamazoo right now with my time machine, you and I were to jump in it, we're going to go back to maybe 16, 17, 18, whenever you want to go back in time, and you're sitting down and you're talking to the younger version of yourself. What would you give? What would you say? What advice or words of wisdom would you share with your younger self, Nate?
Oh, man. Oof. Well, so here's the thing. I don't want to give advice that would alter what I'm going to do, because I feel like if you alter what you're going to do, then that changes your future. And that means, so for instance, if I told myself when I got injured, like, hey, take the rest of the year off so that way you might have a chance to play football again. Well, if I did that, then I would have never had my kids wouldn't be the same, because I would have never met my current the person I would have never met my wife. The relationship with my dad might have been different. A lot of things would change, and I don't want to necessarily change anything, right? Yeah. So I think what I would say to myself, young 17, excuse my French, asshole Nate, is I think I would say, no matter how tough things get, just remember that you are a fighter and you will be okay. Keep your tight circle of friends and never let them go, because they are your rock and they'll keep you and they'll get you through anything. So that's what I'd say. I wouldn't give any, hey, change this, do this different. No, just remember that you're a fighter and you'll be okay. That's what I think I'd say. I
love it. I mean, that's pretty broad, right there. It covers so many aspects of life. Remember when things get tough, you are a fighter. Life's going to be okay. And keep those circle of good people around you, your tribe. Mm-hmm. Would you tell yourself to invest in Amazon? When you see this company called Amazon come on, bet on it.
Amazon, Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's
get into those.
I always hear the question. I hear the question a lot. If you could have $10 million or go back in time and change one mistake you made, what would you do? I'm like, I would take the 10 million. Because, I mean, I agree with you 100%. Every bad thing that's happened to me, every bad thing I've done, I don't regret it. I feel bad if I impacted other people in a negative way. But it's not a regret. It's, I don't even know what the word is, but it really, everything we've done, good or bad, has forged us. Everything we've gone through, good or bad, has forged us. And, when you go through difficult times or you do dumb things, you either come out of it stronger or weaker. You never stay the same. And if you've gotten through it stronger, then why would you want to go back and change that?
Exactly. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
Amen to that. I used to have a keychain when I was in college that said that. I don't know where I'd like to have that again. What's next for you, my friend?
Oh, so we were actually kind of talking about it. I got to get out of the behind the scenes thing. And that's kind of what I've learned in the last 12 months. It kind of ties in together. Mm-hmm. I'm now going to start going in front of the camera. This TV show that we're working on is called Global Icon. That puts me in front of the camera. And I'll tell you, being in front of the camera is a brand new experience for me. They say I'm good at it. I don't believe them, but we'll see. I'm going into this TV show. So I'll be in front of the camera. I'm getting into voice acting. So again, I'm in front of the camera, but we'll have You'll hear my voice all over the place. I'm getting into a lot of different things that's going to put me in front of the camera instead of behind the scenes, which is going to change a lot. And it kind of goes against what, I decided when I was a 16, 17-year-old teenager. But my kids were like, nah, we'll be fine. Let's go, Dad. Let's make this happen. So if the kids are on board with it, I'm on board with it. And it's time to get in front. So we got the TV show, voice acting, starting a brand new business where I have a lot of producer friends who are around the world. We're going to start a global music company. So it's a lot going on. Again, I started the youth sports organization, and that's grown. So we started off with that one. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. We're called the Kalamazoo Royals. We started off with two teams, two baseball teams. This started last year. This is going to be our first season actually playing in tournaments and everything. But we went from 2 teams to 6 teams in 1 year. So we've grown quite a bit. And then we're adding another sport as well. We're going to add soccer. So now we're going to have travel baseball and travel soccer. So we have that going on. I'm writing a couple musicals. I've done work for the Negro Ensemble Company in Harlem. So some great actors come out of there. Denzel Washington, John Cheadle. I can't think of Chadwick Boseman. Used to be with the Negro Ensemble Company. So I've done some work for them. I'm actually writing a musical and got to present it to them, and they're going to help me actually develop that. So again, it's behind the scenes, but when they do that, you're going to see I'm going to start putting my name on things, which is different instead of trying to stay hidden and be ghost productions. I'm going to have my name on things now, so I'll be easier to find. So a lot of changes are going to happen in 2025, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'm very excited and I am nervous, but like you said, got to do something that scares the hell out of you every day, right?
When you were talking about that, I thought about that's the definition of voluntary adversity. Is it something that takes you out of your comfort zone? Yes. Is it something that's good for you? Yes. Is it voluntary? Yes. It meets all 3 criteria, and that's what makes men and women great right there.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
All right. My final question before we wrap up, Nate, is there any question that I didn't ask that you wish I would have, or is there any final message you want to leave with the Bamboo Pack?
The final, question, no, but the final message, and this is something that I've said it once, I've said it a million times, but it's the God's honest truth. It does not matter how much money you make. Everyone always asks, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is the impact that you have on the others around you. There's no definite reason or definite meaning for life, but it's the impact that you have on those around you. Everyone always talks about legacy and things like that. It's the impact that you have that lasts forever. For instance, what I was taught, the hardest thing to do is to finish. My kids now know that. I know that. My father knows that. I'm sure my grandfather is the one that taught it to my father and his father before him. That's the impact that you leave. Money does not matter. You can't take it with you. It doesn't. None of those things matter. What actually matters is the impact that you have on the people that's around you. It's like a good virus is the best way I'll put it. You impact one person. That one person now impacts their kids, which maybe 1 or 2 or whoever else they get around. So that's 2 or 3 people. Then those 2 or 3 people go, and then those 2 or 3 people go, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads. It's not about money. It's not about how much money you can make or how much money you spend or anything else like that. The time and energy and effort that you put into people is the only thing that really matters in this world. So if you do that for a positive reason and for a good reason, your legacy and your impact on the world outweighs any money that you have ever brought in.
I don't even know how to recap that. Honestly, that's the best ending to this show. Usually I try to recap, but I can't top that right there at all. That was beautifully stated, and I couldn't agree with you more, Nate. I mean, that was the vibe you gave off for the entire hour and 8 minutes we've been talking together, is that impact, how important the impact is for you. And I think the impact you made today, at least I know you made it on me, and I can guarantee the Bamboo Pack out there, those audience members listening today are going to be highly impacted by your message. So I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate your time today. This is one of those inspiring episodes that I had in the feeling, and I got to thank Todd for putting us together, because you have been an amazing guest on the Bamboo Lab podcast.
Well, I appreciate it. And you know what? Bringing me on here has been a highlight for me, too. So this is the first time I've done a podcast, and it's definitely a highlight. I'm very excited. Thank you very much for bringing me onto your show. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. And now, in a year from now, when your name is more pronounced out there, I'm going to get you back on. So don't forget us people who were talking to you before your voice was all over the world.
Hey, this was the start. This is the
first.
Here.
I got to the beginning of the year that things start to change for you.
That's right. Yeah, and was like, hey, where'd you get your start? Oh, the Bamboo Podcast, right there, Bamboo Lab Podcast.
Hey, you tell everybody that too.
I'm on it. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Hey, brother. Hey, give my best to your wife and your children, and please wish your son a happy birthday coming up here in April from all of us. And thanks again.
All right, thank you. You have a great one. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, brother. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in this week. We'll be back again next week for another show. I'm going to ask you, please think about what Nate said. The hardest thing to do is finish, because I know all of you out there, or I shouldn't say all of you, many of you out there are in the middle of something right now that's very troubling, very challenging, that you're pushing your limits, you're out of your comfort zone, and you might be thinking of giving up. Well, you've done the easy part. You've started it. Now, prove to yourself who you are and how badly you want to become a better version of yourself by finishing what you started. I know it inspired me to do so, because I've got a few things that I've been contemplating not finishing, but after today, I think I'm going to kick myself in the ass and finish them. In fact, I know I am. So anyway, in the meantime, I'll talk to you all in a week. Please get out there and strive to give and be your best. Please show love and respect to others, and show it back to yourself. And please work to live intentionally and with purpose. Until next time.